Oyedele, thank you for having me discuss with you taxation in Nigeria.
Yeah, thank you very much.
From the Proshare angle, we have been worried particularly about the HS code definition, particularly since Nigeria rebased its economy in 2014. That has not been realigned with the fiscal policy. And considering the role of tariffs and taxes in the economy and fiscal policy management, I would like to get your perspective on this.
Nothing is static in life, including business, including the economy. Things change every time and economies evolve. Nigeria is one of the largest countries in the world, not just Africa, but we could be much bigger than we are. And we've witnessed significant growth over a period of time, even though now there's some slowdown in the economy. But whatever it is, what countries do around the world is to use the instrument of taxation, tariffs, as well as the other tools like monetary policy tools to try and reshape the economy and push it and moving in the right direction. Whether you rebase the economy or not, things like tariff are issues you should consider and review on a yearly basis or even more frequently. So you look at the tariff today and you find out that even if you take something like value-added tax, you import so many things into Nigeria, nobody knows whether it's exempt, whether it's vatable or not, because the tariff book does not clearly take care of that. And it's not even updated regularly. You have also our approach to issues of taxation, tariffs, and fiscal policy in general. Nigeria does not seem to have a strategy or policy direction that is very clear. We have the national tax policy that was approved in 2010, but then unfortunately, many people in government, including policymakers and lawmakers, are not even aware that we have a national tax policy. So you then see that there are bills at the National Assembly that are the direct opposite of what was stated in the policy. So there's a need for us to have a framework that allows whatever we eventually agree that we're going to do as a country to be implemented. If you don't have that framework, we have the best of documents, the best of white papers, and it will be, gathering dust wherever it is. So those are the missing links. So if the CBN in the past few months and over the last 1 year has been trying to deal with a lot of issues, you'll find that some of those issues are fiscal policy issues. But the CBN is just trying to use monetary policy to resolve all of the problems, like prohibiting, there are 41 items, and the CBN says these items are not eligible for foreign exchange. And I'm asking myself, if it's not illegal to import them, why do you use monetary policy to address that? It should have been fiscal policy by raising the duties. I know there are also issues with the border. The border is porous. You can't be sure about corruption. But in an ideal situation, you do not say that items that are legally can be imported should not get effects from the market, official market. They should have been raised the import duties on them if you really want to discourage consumption. So those are some of the issues around the fiscal policy environment in general from my perspective.
Now, still on tariff and taxes in Nigeria, it is a reality now that Nigeria is going through a recession period. Taxes are expected to be at a relief level, not in a punitive measure. It is expected that taxes do not go up, but rather should be at a moderate level to embrace every sector of the economy and every bracket. What is your thought in terms of how tariff and taxes can be aligned with the economic policy direction?
Yeah, so taxation is a very important tool in the way you run any economy, whether it's oil dependent, whether it's natural resource, whether it's not, even the largest economies in the world. People rely on taxation as an instrument to try and move the economy in the right direction. Whenever there's a slowdown in the economy, or you're having a recession, or there's significant unemployment, or businesses are struggling to cope, all those issues, you really need to look at the right policy measures from a fiscal point of view. For example, because Nigerian governments at all levels, especially states, have been struggling to pay salaries of workers, it means that, and given that this economy relies so much on public sector spending, What that means is the purchasing power of a lot of people have been diminished. Because they cannot buy a lot before, businesses cannot sell. Because businesses cannot sell, they lay off even more people. So one thing leads to another. What you should do in an ideal situation is government can use the power of fiscal policy, like spending. You know, there are even countries where they say, can we construct roads even though we don't need them? Can we build something just to create employment? And it's the time to reduce taxes, not the time to raise them. Because when you reduce taxes, you increase disposable income so people can start spending again, and you stimulate the economy in that way. Unfortunately for us, we've not been a country where people pay taxes in the past. So you see our tax to GDP ratio is one of the lowest in the world, currently around 6%. And then if government is no longer making money from crude oil like they used to make in the past, then if you ask them to reduce tax rates, then the question is, how would government survive? So unfortunately, because we haven't been doing things properly in the past, we don't have a lot of headroom to try and reduce tax rates. But in my view, actually, I think the tax rates in Nigeria are competitive anywhere in the world. They're not high. I was talking to one expatriate recently, and I said personal income tax in Nigeria is highest is 20% that anybody will pay effectively. And he said, wow, that's very, in some countries you pay as high as 67%, 40%, 50%. So the rates, VAT in Nigeria, for example, is one of the lowest in the world. So the rate is not really our problem. I think the issue we have is getting almost everybody, if possible, to comply, and for government to use that revenue that they collect from people to stimulate the economy by creating employment, by ensuring that businesses thrive, by encouraging industries that they want to encourage, like power generation, like refining, like technology companies, and so on and so forth. So this is the place of, in my view, fiscal policy in helping the economy, both through tough times and even when things are working well.